Step out of your day and into your happy place, where your health comes from a more relaxed, beautiful you. Don't take our word for it, take theirs.
That experience is always amazing, but Valentine's Day was pretty special.
Not only am I toes absolutely gorgeous, but I got a foot rub. Oh my god.
Now come along and find your glamorous you. Manis, pedis, massages, facials, hair, makeup, and waxing. You know you want to. Call or visit us today at 448-4099. The Glam Experience, Day Spa. Step out of your day and into your happy place, where your health comes from a more relaxed, beautiful you. Don't take our word for it, take theirs.
That experience is always amazing, but Valentine's Day was pretty special.
Not only am I toes absolutely gorgeous, but I got a foot rub. Oh my god.
Now come along and find your glamorous you. Manis, pedis, massages, facials, hair, makeup, and waxing. You know you want to. Call or visit us today at 448-4099. The Glam Experience, Day Spa.
Hello. Good afternoon, one and all. Oh my God. Good afternoon. Something's wrong with my lashes. That's why I was taking so long to come on. My actual lashes in my eye and it's troubling me. Let me tell you, I'm trying to get it out. Like I literally almost took a tweezer and wash it. Good afternoon. Welcome to another Cacoa tea. I am so excited to be back here. Back to back. I was with you last week. I'm back here this week. And I'm so excited to be bringing another show for you. You know when it's hot? We just keep it coming. We just keep bringing it on because we have it. So we're doing it and I'm available. So why the heck not? I want to say good afternoon to all those of you tuned in. Remember to drop your flag. Let me see those folks. Hello. Hi, Al. Boy, let me hot in the babe. Oh, there's waiting man for me. Good afternoon. Al is saying good afternoon. How are you doing, Al Charles? Aurel is on. Denise is on. Who else is on? Let me know where you're locked in from. Make sure you share the live. Share the live. Let folks know. Drop your flag and share the live and show the love and make sure you're tagging your friend, tagging your Kobe, your nene, your Power. Everybody, tag everybody that you can on this live because we're going to be bringing you an exciting show today. I'm just trying to share with the folks, because people messaging me and asking me for the link. I don't know. It's like on a day like today, you think people would not know where my show is at? Like they messaging me for the link. Like, should I give them a cool point? Like, what should I do? Listen, the show is on and we're excited to be back here again. I want to say big up to Digicel, Better Together, big up to the Glam, big up to Swift Pack. I hope you guys having an awesome weekend. We've had a packed week. It is actually really, really hot right about now. I wish I had the fan, but if I put on the fan, then you're gonna hear the noise. So I'm just gonna switch. You see how my forehead shining? Look at that, shining. My forehead shining. Let me tell you, makeup couldn't do nothing to stop that. But we're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna have a good show this evening, this afternoon, wherever Chicago is locked in. Drop your flag. Let me know. Anne is logged in. I see y'all. I see y'all. I see y'all coming through. Y'all coming through. How was your week? How did you guys do this week? Let me know if you had a great week. Let me know if you had an awesome week. Let me know if you drank some Cacoa tea this week. I actually drank Cacoa tea twice this week. So let me know if you drank Cacoa tea this week. I want to know, Let me know if you ate something local from Dominica, wherever you locked in. Let me know. Just share some love. Let me know what's going on. I'm just still trying to send that link to the person. You see, the struggle is real because I like to go at you. But we have a good show for you. We have 2 women. We're going to be stopping off in Canada for a little bit. And then we're going to be making our way down south to the US of A. Yes, we got 2 women in his house, and they're army women. And let me tell you, they're not no wishy-washy kind of army women. They're hardcore, been there, done that, have like all kind of title. So they're gonna be coming and giving you all the deets. Hi, Ketchura, auntie guys locked in. Yes, Denise is locked in. They're gonna be giving us all the deets about working or being part, because they say it's not a job. It's like what do they call it? It's not. There's an ad that says it's not a job. It's what is the word? I can't remember the word. Help me with the word. When they refer to the army, it's not a job. It's it's a lifestyle. That's what somebody. Yeah, it's not a job. It's a lifestyle, and I mean it's so interesting just talking to them and getting just a little little details on there. I mean, granted, I'm gonna go dig right and get all the information that I need to get, but I had to speak with them, and I got warped in into the army conversation, and I hope that you get warped in too, because it is so exciting what these women do. Is like, if you're a girl that likes the adrenaline rush, or a guy that likes adrenaline rush like me, hearing these ladies talk, yes, you need to be ready. You need to be ready. I want to big up my sponsors again. I want to say thank you very much to my sponsors. Without them, this show would not be possible. Girlfriend gotta get paid. Let me tell you, girl gotta get paid. This show ain't free no more, right? So I want to big up the sponsors. Big up to Swift Pack. Thank you very, 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 very much. You see, I have a Cacoa tea mug. But there's no Cacoa tea in there. There's actually wine in there. So if I have it too loud, just know it's like my wine is coming through. Granted, I need a whole bottle of barefoot wine, to really like start feeling like a little tipsy, not even nice. There's a little tipsy because it's made for the ladies. So I'm drinking my barefoot wine. I hope you're having that too. And my lipstick, I was putting on my lipstick before the show started. Don't judge me. Because I don't judge me, okay? So it normally has a cap, but I pull out the cap because I'm rough. So if you want to know what I'm wearing bounce on it. It's like a matte, matte nude. When they tell you nude, and you just be like, what a nude? They don't nude for Black people. Well, see, this has like a little touch of pink going on, and it's available at The Glam, one of our sponsors. Yes, so big up to my sponsors. Thank you so very much for them. Without them, this show would not be able to continue, because granted, I was doing this show during my university, days, because I started like right before university. And now that I'm done, I need to get paid. Okay. So if you know somebody that wants to sponsor the show, tell them, hit me up. They can always get in touch with me. How can I get a Cacoa team up? We got to talk about that off air, DM me off air. That's an off-air conversation. Support the show today. Donate. Patreon.com/Jael Joseph if you want to do a monthly donation. Yes, girlfriend, you can do a monthly donation. So you can pay me $5 every single month from your paycheck, just so you can come here and grab that content. You can do that. Or you can send me a one-time gift of via PayPal at jaeljoseph.com. I'm ready for the show. Are you ready? Are you ready? Tell me if you're ready. Let me know if you're ready, because I am. Avril is here. Let me tell you. Okay, I gotta give you the back end story on Avril. Like just my back end story. I'm loud today because I can be. It's my show. If you don't like it, bye. Okay, so I remember, like, I am good friends with this young woman called Ayo. And if you're Dominican and you know Ayo, you know me. You normally see us hanging out. We're both, Canadian/Dominican. We spent a bit of our time in Canada, back and forth, whatever. Anyways, Ayo's mom is a designer, like one of the best designers out there. She does gowns. She does different types of apparel. She also does jewelry made out of fabric. Like if you're looking for like that, those those help me madras. Yes. So if you're looking for those madras accessories, she has those beautiful madras accessories that she. So a couple years back, I saw this like really like melanated beauty in a bald head. Girlfriend, I was rocking my bald head these days, right? So anybody with a bald head, I was like looking at them, like, want to see like, okay, somebody rocking the bald head. And let me tell you, a beautiful woman, dark skin. I mean, she did the photo shoot for, I think it was probably like her first rollout of her accessory line. And if Mary Green didn't sell out because of just that ad campaign, I don't know what was wrong. Like something probably was wrong with the product because the model was on point. And let me tell you, I instantly fell in love with the way she looked. She just had this thing about her, and I was absolutely blown away. Fast forward to a few years today or recently, somebody sends me, I mean, I've seen her a couple times. We run in similar circles in the sense of we probably see each other, but not really talk. Like we just, I don't know why. I don't even know why we never spoke. But anyways, I get this message from another friend who says, who would be really good to come on Cacoa Tea? And she sends me this press release, or no, actually it wasn't a press release. It was a whole article. So Immigration Canada had written this entire piece on Avril. And I was like, wait a minute, like Beauty Queen is in the army? Like, how do you do? That was my first, like, oh my God, blown away. Gotta talk to her. I literally messaged her right away because I was so blown away. The article, there was an article, there was a podcast to accompany another feature that had been done on her was a podcast. And I was really, really like so impressed, and I wanted to get her on the show. And today we got her, and she's here live and in living color, and she's coming out. I was like, good afternoon to Avril. I'm not as loud as you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
It's so good to have you. Shift a little bit. Let's see that picture in the back. Let's see the picture in the back. Look at that. That's the picture, guys. That is the photo. That is the photo that I remember first seeing Avril in. And if you've never seen that photo, something wrong with you. So you can put it back down a little bit so we can get back into the swing of things. Avril, it's good to have you here on the show. How are you?
It's happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little hot. I sweaty and like really hot and stuff. Probably the wine too. That will contribute to the heat. But I'm glad to have you on, and I'm a little little starstruck because I saw you as a model, and now you're this army lady. Like, first of all, I like to start off the show by getting people to tell me a little bit about themselves and who they are. And I really want you to tell me when you think of yourself as it relates to how you'd want people to view you. Who is Avril?
Half princess, half warrior.
Shira! Is it Xena? Which one? Oh my God, this is awesome. Half princess, half warrior. Avril, tell us a little bit about where were you born?
I was born in Dominica, grew up in Newtown, the house right beside Suki's Bakery. My favorite thing to do in Dominica was swim in the sea. That was it. That's it. I never went to parties or hang out or nothing. This was all I wanted to do. I ran around the Newtown Savannah, and that was it. And I loved the sea. I loved the sea. And that's the only thing I loved.
She loved the sea, and that was it.
Yep.
And you went to school in Dominica. Tell us a little bit about your school days.
So I went to the Newtown Primary School before Hurricane David. It was a school in Newtown. There's an empty spot beside. I think there's a soccer building there.
Mhm.
There's an
Mhm.
empty space. Years ago, there used to be a school there before Hurricane David, probably because before you were born.
Wow, that's where you went to school.
That was a school there. I went to school there, and then I went to St. Martin's School, and then I went to Canada. I came to Canada. So I was like 8, 9 years old.
So you left. So you left Dominica as a young girl to go
Yeah,
to
in
Canada.
1978.
Wow, that
Yeah,
was a long time ago. Tell us,
yeah.
tell me, was that like a family decision that you all leave and go to Canada?
My dad had immigrated to Canada I was in 1970. So once he got settled, he sponsored me. So I went to Canada to meet him. I left my mother in Dominica, my brother, and my brother was young, and all my aunts and everything, and I migrated to Canada.
Alone
But
with your dad.
pardon me,
That was you
alone.
alone with your dad.
Yep, alone. And but my dad had gotten married, and so it was, I went to move with my dad. I didn't know his wife very well, so I moved with my dad. And I got to Canada, and I missed my mother. I missed Dominique. I missed my family. So he spoke to me. He's like, oh, this is your home now. And I remember saying to him, what do I do to get you to stay? I said, well, I want my mother to come stay with us. And he says, well, where's she going to sleep? I said, oh, she could sleep in my room with me. But,
Wow.
when you're 8 years old, you don't understand that. Your mother can't live in your room with you, with his wife in the other, your dad and his wife in the other room. You don't understand that, right?
So what happened to you? Like, what was going
So
on through your head?
so in my head, I was very attached to my mother, very. And when you take a young child and you take her into a totally foreign land, it's a huge adjustment. So I did not speak, and I did not eat.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's not that I starved myself. I grieved my mother. And everyone, my aunt lived in Canada. She's like, "Oh, Avril, you should stay. This. But I'm young. My mother. That's all that
That you
mattered.
knew. That's all you
That
knew.
that's all that mattered was my mother. So I stayed. I was enrolled in school, elementary school. I'm enrolled in school. I have my school clothes. I went to school, and then same thing, no talking, no eating. My dad called my mother, and he says, she's like, I don't know what to do, what else to do. She doesn't talk and she doesn't eat. And she says, send her back. And I went back to Dominica.
Look at you. So you were proving your warrior days that
Yeah,
you were not
yeah,
gonna get phased and nobody
no,
was gonna move you.
yeah, and that was it. And my dad, before I left, he says, okay, you're gonna go back to meet your mother, but you're gonna have to come back. So go back to Dominica, get some. I was very shy, extremely shy and quiet. That's just if you know me, that's me naturally. You see
Mhm.
me, you don't hear me. So I went I went back. I went to St. Martin's School, and then I did the common entrance, and then Hurricane David passed, and then I went to grammar school. And my mother was a huge proponent of she didn't of learning to live with boys. She was a huge proponent of co-ed schools. So that's why I went to
She's
grammar
like, you
school.
ain't going convent.
Yeah, no, she's like, no, grammar school. You're gonna have, this is how life is going to be. So life is not only girls in it. There's all kinds of people in it. So I went to grammar school, those were the best 8 years of my life. Going back to Dominica, and 2 weeks after I graduated grammar school, I was back in Canada.
Wow. Okay. Tell us a little bit about the grammar school days. What were some of your fond memories of grammar school days?
I ran track. I was a track star. I ran long distance for BJ House. I was, you name it. Yeah, athlete. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So you ran track and you did fairly well, and then your mom says to you, "Well, you're done school.
Hmm.
You're going back."
Well, that wasn't even a conversation because that was already established that I was going back.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just when the ticket came. So the ticket came a week after graduation, and I left a week later.
And just like that,
Just
you
like that.
were in Canada.
Yep.
How did you feel getting back into Canada the second time around?
Um, because I was older, you understand when you're growing up in Dominica, you see so much. You understand, you see the privileges. I saw who had the privilege. I mean, I grew up in humble beginnings, you know. I am a dark-skinned woman. Um, back then, dark skin, the colorism things existed, you know, although, you know, I mean, I did piano lessons. My mother gave me the best, but yet the color of my skin still there. You
Wow.
know what I mean? It was
You
yes, it was
experienced
still there.
discrimination.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I
What was
mean, they were
what were
they
some of
were
the things that people would say to you now?
no, that's the thing. Nobody said anything. You would just, you know, you
You
at
treated
piano
differently.
class, at yeah, oh yeah, because you know my last name is Jno-Baptiste. It's not prominent. You
No,
get what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Tell us what made you feel that you were being treated differently. What were some of the actions that were taken up by people that made you feel that, hey, they don't really like me, or what even made you connected to the color of your skin?
So it's not that I say they didn't like me. I wasn't in their social circle.
Mhm.
Because you know I wasn't a friend of a friend, or you know Mrs. So and so wasn't my mother, or Mr. So and so wasn't my dad. So you know by affiliated by people of positions of power, I didn't have that. You
Mhm.
know, I was the little black girl from Newtown. That was it, you know. But I've always been comfortable in in my own skin. I didn't allow, you know, how they were how they were to me affect me. I had
Because
my friends.
now you go to Canada, you move back to Canada where
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Even before that in Dominica, you know, yeah, they said hello to you at piano class, at piano lessons, but on the street, you know, there was the few that said a few things to you. But generally, you know, I wasn't in their class.
do you think that still exists today in Dominica? Would you say that, that's
Because I'm not there, I don't live there.
Mhm.
I cannot tell. I don't know. But I had this one experience where I came back to visit, and I stayed at a certain hotel, and then this girl from my piano class I saw in this hotel, I think she was working, and she said, "I know you from somewhere." I was like, "Uh-huh, from piano." And she's like, guess what she says to me? She didn't ask me my first name. She asked, "What was your last name?"
Wow.
Yeah. And that right there was it, you know?
So it's like to her, she would instantly remember you if she could remember your last name.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
last name would connect her in her
Yeah,
mind to who exactly you were.
exactly. Or the social circle, or the you know, the quote unquote the class. My name was not prominent. You know what I mean?
You know,
Although people
I'm
were not,
glad you're
the thing
saying
is
that.
they were,
I'm
pardon me?
glad you're saying that because I remember, um, the person will remain nameless. I remember
Hmm.
speaking to somebody, and my last name is Joseph, right?
Yeah,
And to them, Joseph is a very common last name. There are lots
yeah.
of Josephs in Dominica. And I remember speaking to someone, and that person was married before and was about to get married again. And I was like, so are you going to take on the person's last name, right? Now, the person they were getting married to just happened to be a Joseph, right? And that stayed with me up until this day. And hearing you say that, it just brings back that memory and just how I felt hearing her speak that way. I said to her, so are you going to take on his last name? And she goes, no, Joseph is too much of a common last name. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, but you took your first husband's last name. So what's the difference? So like, I would have preferred if she'd said to me, you know what, I did this before, been there, done that. I took my first husband's last name. I'm not doing this shit again. You know, I would have preferred if she'd said that than the way she kind of just like raised her nose and was like, Joseph is too much of a common last name. Like,
Yeah.
So hearing you say that,
Yeah. Yeah, and now you go back. I go back to Dominica to visit, and you know, I give side eye to, really, I wasn't good enough when I lived in Dominica. Suddenly I'm good enough to be your friend. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So yes, that is huge. I don't know if it still exists, because my generation is in their 50s now. So I don't know, you know, I'm 52.
Girl,
so I don't know.
You don't look a day over like 30 something. Give me a damn break. What? 50 who? 50 what?
So
No.
I don't know if it still exists, but I strongly believe there's a little bit of a presence of it still in Dominica, because last name associated with, you know, yeah, you know, oh, well,
nobody ain't making this coconut feel less than. I know my worth. so I think we just have to know our worth and
yeah,
with our head held high and choose the company that we want to keep, because
yeah,
at the end of the day, you're not more than me because your last name might be quote unquote
yeah,
a prominent last name or has a level of of rating or value or whatever the case might be. Nonsense.
But here's the other thing. Now you take that. So because that was prominent in Dominica, a lot of people, that's a generational thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these people migrated, and some of them are in Canada, right?
I'm in the same part with you.
So guess what? Suddenly, oh, you're so and so's daughter. And suddenly, oh, okay. Oh, she's so and I won't call my
Girl, you
dad's
giving
name.
me like I feel like as if you
I won't call my dad's name, but you know, oh, you're so and so's daughter.
you
And I was
are
like,
giving me all those vibes. Like
yeah,
I literally cussed out somebody who used to come to my house and see me in Dominic and wanted to pass me straight. And I was like, you sleep on my couch, bruh. Like I literally cussed the person. That was years ago because I have no face. But it's so funny that you say that because that happens all the time. We're all in the same, because now it's not a matter of class. Now it's a matter of color in the sense of you being the minority,
yeah,
right? And the minorities tend to cling together. Or another thing too is that we tend to look for community.
yeah.
So we're looking for other Dominicans and we bounce up and not all of us in the same pot.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like that. And it would not have been that way if we lived in the same Dominica.
Yeah, yeah. And my dad is extremely prominent in the Dominican community in Canada. So if I say my dad's name, everybody knows who he is. So, oh yeah, you're his daughter. Okay, da 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 da. And everybody's like, oh, you're the one in the army.
Girl, let's go to the army now. So let's leave those class people where they be. But it's a great conversation that needs definitely to be had, because that is, anyways, I don't want to get into that. We'll get into that on Black Island Girl. That is a conversation that definitely needs to happen, because there's a lot of colorism, and as a result of colorism, classism, based on your name, your family name, who probably has done really well in your family, or if you come from a well-off family, that always happens. So you move to Canada,
Mhm.
you're I guess you're still technically in high school,
Mhm.
age. What happens next?
So when I came to Canada, I had to go to high school all over again, but not start from scratch. I started at grade 10, but I got a lot of credits because I had graduated from grammar school. So I went back to high school, and the actually we were looking. My dad was looking to put me into college, and then I think he went to a high school or something because of my age, and they're like, oh, she needs to integrate into the Canadian culture.
Assimilate,
and
aka.
and and then so that's why I went back to high school. So I
Mhm.
went to high school. I graduated high school again, and I wanted to be a nurse. That was my passion. My dream was to be a nurse.
So why didn't you go to nursing
I
school?
I wanted to help people. Why didn't I go to nursing school? That is a whole different story. I'll just sum it up like this. I did not. Okay, the support I was supposed to get, I did not get it. So my dream of becoming a nurse died. A lot of things died,
Wow.
and that was it. And 4 years after coming to Canada, I left Ontario, I left Toronto, I left the province, and through circumstances beyond my control, I was sent to Winnipeg. Winnipeg.
Winnipeg.
Mhm.
Why Winnipeg?
Winnipeg, we had a family member there, and that's where I went. I think I was supposed to go get fixed.
When you say fix, what do you mean? You know I'm gonna want to know.
Fixed. Hmm. It's a ugly immigrant child story when a child from the Caribbean moves to Canada with a parent, and one is step and one is the other. Um, it's it's a huge responsibility, and I think a lot of people think they can do it, but not a lot of people can undertake the responsibility of a stepchild, or just it's a big story. It's a big
I know.
story.
You know what? I think we can read between the lines.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's a big
between
story,
the lines.
and I'm gonna leave it at that. It's a big story.
So you moved.
It's a big sad story. So I moved to Winnipeg.
You moved to Winnipeg,
Yeah,
and what
and
happens next?
so I moved to Winnipeg. I'm going to University of Winnipeg, doing business admin, and I'm in Winnipeg doing business admin, but I am not fulfilled. There's something more. I went to university because university was what people did. You know, my passion, I still needed to find Avril. I still needed to be confident. I still needed to pick up myself. I needed to pick myself up in order to grow. So I went to university, and while in university, I was talking to a friend in the US, and saying, hey, these like I need something challenging. I need something of my own. I need to go out there, and I need to spread my wings. I need to jump off the cliff head first, feet first, and fly and be successful. And I had been to Grand Forks Air Force Base in North Dakota, and this friend says to me, hey, what about the military? I'm like, oh my God, I'm not cut up for the military. I was like, have you seen the girls in the military? You have to be tough and this and that. I can't fit that. And my friend said to me, of course you can. So I went to the recruiting center, And I walked by the recruiting center in Winnipeg a few times. I peeked over the window trying to find someone that looked like me. And,
Mm.
and, uh, and there was no one. And I was like, oh, I can't do that. And then one day I didn't have a car and I walked into the bus stop and I saw this girl in uniform. She was wearing an Air Force uniform. And I said to her, I said, so how is it? And she says, oh, it's great. And it was quick. Her bus came and that was it. And that was, I think that was the confirmation I needed. The next day I went to the recruiting center. And, I was like, yeah, I'm here to join the military. And they're like, oh, what are the requirements? They're like, oh, you have to be a Canadian citizen. And I was like, okay, I'm a Canadian citizen. And this is 1992. And you have to be a Canadian citizen. I'm like, yeah, go. Yeah. So I'm going to, I went, I've made up my mind that I am going to do this with no, I didn't just, there's no naysayers. There's nobody, these people don't know me. So they're gonna see me for my full potential. There's not going to be any outside influence, no family, no nothing. Now, mind you, I have a completely supportive family in Dominica. I have the most amazing aunties, my mother, my like everything, grand aunts, grandmother, everything. So that is the force that's holding me. My force that was holding me was sitting in Dominica. So I'm all the way in Winnipeg trying to get through a recruiting process. And I went through, and the girl, all the paperwork's done, and I chose my occupation, and then she walked out, and I said, and I looked at her uniform, because for me, I'm like, you have to represent, right? So she's wearing an Air Force uniform, but her pants was like above her ankles. It was like swinging. I was like, oh. And then I said, oh, so is this what the uniforms look like? She's like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, oh my goodness. It was like floods, right? She's wearing Air Force blues.
My job is Ivy.
Yeah. So then, and this a guy walked around from behind, and he's wearing a camouflage jacket with a belt, boots, like high boots, like above his, like up to his calf, fitted pants, his boots, a blouse. And I said, well, what's this uniform? And she says, oh, that's the army. I was like, well, that's the one I want. And that's why I joined the army. And everybody's like, oh, you joined the army because of fashion. I'm like, no, I just want to look good in uniform.
She wanted to look good in her uniform.
Yes.
So how quickly did you move up? Like, what was your rank when you walked in, and how did you move up?
So basic training, there's basic training, you're nobody. So you go to basic training, and there's 58 of us, and they're like, we are going to break you down to build you up. And in my head, I don't know what that means, but I was like, whatever it is, okay. So I went through, and basic training was tough. I went through basic training in 1993, where they swore at you and they called people names, and it was tough. It was tough. So mentally, you had to be strong to go through basic training. And successfully at the end of it, on the second week, they said, in 2 weeks from now, no, the second day, they said 2 weeks from now, half of you won't be here. And I said to myself, man, that could be me, because I'm not used to people swearing at me. I'm not used to all that yelling and all of that rough life. But you know what? Failure was not an option. As much as I thought that in that little, that for that moment, the other moment, like, no, Avril, you're in this. You're in this by yourself. You have to succeed, because you have no one there for you but you. So you're gonna have to go up there and you make it. And I told myself that, on the tough days, I went to the bathroom and I cried, and I had to pick myself up, and I had to do it. I had to do it, you know. So I went to basic training, and we graduated, and half was gone. From 58, 39 graduated, and out of the 39, there was 5 women, and I was the only Black person. Do you know how I mean, we had to go in part of my basic training. I went to the gas hut. So we had part of your training is if you get, if you get gassed. So how to decontaminate. And back in the day, it was a dirt called fuller's earth. So you had to decontaminate your hair and everything. And I wasn't a baldy back then. I grew my hair, and I was decontaminating, but it was like a powder. And when you put the powder in your hair, if you take powder right now and you put it in natural hair, you can't brush it out, right? Well, they didn't understand that I couldn't brush the powder out of my hair because I had my hair natural. So I got in trouble. So my entire platoon is doing push-ups because the powder couldn't come up my hair.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so it was, so I went through that, and then we graduated, and on graduation day, and everyone had their family, and I had made a few friends in Winnipeg, and there was one person there for me. Each person out of the 39 graduates had, your mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandparents, and I had one person there for me. But you know what? I was good because I had accomplished something on my own without anyone saying to me, I'm a liability to them, without anyone saying to me, well, you're no good, or you need to go get some hard work for you to do. There was none of that. There was just people saying, hey, you can do it. Good on you, JB. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. So from Winnipeg, I wanted to come back to Toronto. I came back to Toronto in 1995. So 2 years after being in the military, I worked at the Land Force Central Area Headquarters in Toronto. And from there, I got my next post was Kingston, Ontario. So I went to Kingston, and I made my way up. But through so from Kingston, I went back. No, where did I go? Yeah, I went back to Toronto, but in Kingston, I had amazing jobs. I worked at the Canadian Forces College. I was a student administrator. So I administered all officers and training, so
Hardcore.
yes. And then from there, I went to Toronto, and from Toronto, I went to Afghanistan. So I did all my training to go to Afghanistan. So while I was in Afghanistan, I did, you train. So in the military, you're trained as a soldier first. So
I was
even,
going to ask you that. Like,
yeah,
was it just like, did you just get a position or
no.
what?
So unlike the U.S. military, we are not specialized. The U.S. is specialized. We are not specialized. So I had to go to the ranges. I had to go to CBRN, which is CBRN is chemical, biological, nuclear warfare. You have to do all that training like you were in it, and you have to go all of that, and that preps you to go to a war zone. You go through your lectures. I mean, and you're sitting in a room, and you're being taught all the different weapons that you could come across, what the Taliban had. And my job, although I am administration, my job, my secondary duty, which became my primary duty, was we hired Afghan women to come onto the camp to help us, and my job was I had to search them before they went on camp, which is my secondary duty, and I was up. They call it up reserve. So in case when the camp gets attacked, that was my job was to go man the gates, and if you get, your weapon is loaded and all this and all that.
Weapon is loaded. Avril, you know how to use those weapons?
Well, of course, that's my job.
Oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
I was never, like, I think of you and I can't picture you in a gun. Because you exactly like you say, the princess. I picture you as a princess. And I don't see the warrior when, like when I see you walking on the street or I see you in pictures, I see a princess, and to think of you in a gun.
Yes. So Yeah, so the thing, if with in when we're in Afghanistan, so you search in a concrete barrier. It's really tall. It's like probably 12 feet tall, and it's you go in there with the person. So what it is you and her is in there, and if she's when you search her, if she's strapped up with explosive, the concrete sanger is to contain the blast. So when if she is, it will contain the blast. So just two lives will be taken, just you and her. That's it. But that's why I said the military is mental, not physical.
I'm a swallow now. This is what I get some water, something to drink. So you're really like what you say is really true. Like it's not just a physical thing. It's
No.
mental. You have to mentally prepare yourself to join the army.
Yeah. And yeah, so from there, I mean, I have done a lot of different jobs in with different commands, different capacities. With I was with the Canadian Special Operations Command, which you have to get screened for, so special ops. So you get screened for special ops. So I was with the special ops. I was with what they called Leitrim, SIGINT, Signals Intelligence. Um, I I've done so many. I have worked
What was your favorite role like since you've been in the army?
My favorite role was actually most recently. I went to Kuwait in a superintendent position, and I came back in the pandemic, right before the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and I managed. I managed the entire operation, like administratively. Sorry, I oversaw it. I didn't manage it.
Mm-hmm.
I was the superintendent. So for Kuwait, Lebanon, Jordan, and Iraq. So I was the 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 highest ranking senior human resources administrator.
Wow.
So I didn't go in there to so they could to show them how to do their job, but they consulted me when things were, what do I do about that? Yeah. So yeah, I was
When did you decide to cut your hair?
I cut my hair. Why or when?
When?
Oh, I many years ago, because I always heard, wow, your hair is so pretty. Are you no, listen. No, I heard you're beautiful for a dark-skinned girl. Your hair's so pretty. Are you mixed? I hated that. I always said I am not my hair. I am not my hair. So I got rid of my hair. I'm like, it's me.
All right. There's a lot of negative stereotypes that people have when they think of the army.
Yeah.
Some of them are not just what they think of, but some of them are what they've heard of what goes on in the army. There's stereotypes like women getting sexually harassed by the men if you're a woman, like you just rightfully said, like people will tell you that there's a lot of negativity, and you're like probably one of very few Black people who are in the Canadian army. What was some of the negative stereotypes or what are some of the negative stereotypes that people have towards the army that are absolutely not true?
If you go to the army, you go to war. That's not true. That's one of the biggest stereotypes. And that's why in the Canadian Armed Forces, there's not a lot of Black people, because I think people think no, not even that. I think in a weird way we conditioned to think that the army is a blue collar career, like that when all else fails, this is what you do. That's not true. Think about every occupation, every career stream in the civilian world. We have it in the military. We have lawyers, doctors, nurses, insurance. Like my job would encompass a healthcare administrator, a regular office administrator, uh, insurance person, like anything administrative you could think of, we do it. We have
And that's
nurses, we
like
have
a
doctors, we have
lifestyle.
lawyers, we have public affairs, which is like what you do. We
Mhm.
have carpenters, electricians, plumbers, uh, guys like Rogers, you know, like
The
electricians, like
tension.
the
Yes.
cable
Yeah.
guys, the cable, yeah,
You need
engineers,
all of
combat
these.
engineers, construction engineers, refrigeration techs, like anything you can possibly think of, we have it. But the nice thing with the Canadian forces, you're not, although they will train you, but you're not specialized. So we can do a whole lot of things. My husband is also in the military.
We were about to get to that, but I want to show some love to the folks coming on. I see them popping up. Brenda Ray G
Okay.
says,
Yes.
Avril, my former childhood best friend and younger sister,
Yes.
are being featured. Yes, Rachel was coming up. She's standing by. She's actually in the lobby standing by. Then big up. Thank you very much for tuning in, Brenda. We also have Jennifer and Fidel, Auntie Jen. You're a pretty version of your dad. And Deidre, Jules is saying, Avril, we're so proud of you. Thanks so much for your love and support to your family, Auntie Deidre.
Yes,
Yes.
that's my
He's
auntie.
saying hello. Beverly is saying congratulations, girl. So folks are coming on and sharing love. And guys, you can share the love now because we're gonna be wrapping up pretty soon because we're over time, and we're having so much fun talking here with Avril. Avril is actually married. What is it having? That's another thing too. A negative stereotype. It's like you can't get married when you're in the military. So
No.
how did you bypass that stereotype?
Well, I don't think it's a stereotype. My husband, I actually met my husband while I was training to go to Afghanistan. I met him on the first day of training. I walked into the theater, but I walked into the wrong door. I thought I was walking into the back door, and I walked into the front door, and I saw everyone. And he was there. And back in the day, you can only wear gold, silver, or pearl studs, but pearls was for the Navy. Because I'm Army, it was either gold or silver, and that was it. Well, I showed up in diamond studs. Yes. And then
Princess, you are.
yes. And then so he said, "Wait, you know those earrings?" I was like, "My earrings does not make me less effective as a soldier." And that was all I said to him.
And it was love at first word.
No. That was it. I gave him a hard time.
You
Yes. Because I was like, no, it doesn't come easy like this. Yeah.
how
I
long have
was
you been married?
15 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And what is life like being married and being in the army? Like, do you
It's
guys go ahead? Go ahead.
he's my biggest supporter. We support each other. He got injured in Afghanistan on his third tour. He got hit with an RPG, and because we serve, I understand. So he called me, but he didn't tell me the severity of his injury. He was airlifted from the Bagram U.S. Air Force Base to Sunnybrook, and he had an RPG go through his body, destroyed his arm, blew his arm away. But luckily, by the grace of God, a muscle kept it attached, but it wasn't a normal arm. It blew behind his body, and I understood. I understood the severity of being a soldier and going to war.
Oh, girl, you're giving me like all kind of vibes.
Yes, and I supported him, and he supported me because we were deployed together. And every time there was an attack, he was always concerned about me. And then I remember one day he said, This is why they don't deploy couples, because somebody gets worried about somebody, you know. But it's just, you understand. You understand. He understand. You know, when you get a phone call that you have to go to work and it's 2 a.m. because you have to go identify the next of kin to call a family member because somebody has passed, and I am the one to go give whoever, you know, the information that needs to be relayed. He understands. So he like, you know, I'll drive you, you know, and we support each other like that. We are each other's biggest support.
What would you say to anybody who's probably looking on right now? There could be Canadians looking as well. You never know, because people go out and they look at this. What would you say to anyone about, because I spoke to you like, off air, and I was saying to you that was like the one of the first things I wanted to do when I moved to Canada, because I was always so impressed with how my relatives who moved to the US who joined the army, and I'm like, yo, when I get to Canada, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. And I was discouraged into doing it. And what would you say to someone who's probably 30 and they're like, they hate their day job, they want something that's challenging, like you did, you hated what you were studying. What would you say to someone who is looking for that next experience?
I say, find out for yourself. Don't let anyone tell you. Inquire for yourself, first and foremost, because a lot of people have different experiences, so they will impose that on you, because they obviously, sometimes you don't know their full story, why their views are negative. I say, find out for yourself. And the military, the Canadian Armed Forces, is an amazing institution. I retired in December of 2017 after 25 years of service. But and I went into corporate Canada, and I was an executive assistant, and 18 months I was out of uniform. And after that, I went to a function, and I was the only one not in uniform. It was a military function. I went with my husband, and right there and then I was like, I missed it.
You're like, I'm going back.
And then I re-enrolled. I went part-time, but then in February of 2021, this year, I went full-time. I went back active regular force again. I mean, I have on the wall right there, I have it's called a shadow box of my retirement, of all my badges and my real medals and everything. And I started another career. I got my rank back. I'm a warrant officer. I got my rank back. I got seniority back. I got everything back. And now I am speaking to you from Gagetown. I'm sorry, well, the base is Gagetown, but Oromocto, New Brunswick. And that's where I live now.
Girl, like, I am so happy to have spoken to you tonight. Oh my God, Avril is such an amazing person. People are coming on, sharing love. Deidre is saying, oh yes, Anthony Guardsman Jonesy, great loving husband. Martina is saying, you're a strong woman, Avril. People are so impressed with your story. Norisa Peltier is saying, congratulations, and if you're being complimented of your hair, proud. Your hair is your beauty. So, well, your hair is not really your beauty; it's part of it. but we get it. We get it. Thank you very much, Norisa, for that. Avril, it was awesome having you on. Oh my God, you're such an inspiration to all of us Black women out there. And I look forward to meeting up with you in Canada now. Be like, hi, Avril! I will be like, my.
You're gonna have to come. You're gonna have to come to New Brunswick, though.
You know I'm coming, right? you know I'm coming.
It doesn't have the flash of Toronto, but it's a nice spot.
I'm gonna be visiting soon, so make space for me.
All right.
so awesome having you on. Thank you very much for the opportunity and for sharing your story. I think a lot of folks can learn from that. There's so many different things that we touched on. I think I probably will get you on again because you give a lot of pearls, especially with the colorism, classism thing. And I really want to connect with you again and we can discuss on a different level. But I think my thinking. It was a pleasure. I think there's something in the new tongue water when it comes to Army girls because the next one coming up is also girl. Let me tell you. Thanks, Avril.
All right, thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh my God, this was absolutely wonderful. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're gonna take a water break. We need to take a water break. We need to drink some water. We have Reshema Sherlock is coming on next. Make sure you share it live. We are definitely share it live. Drop your flag, share it live. We're coming on with Reshema. We're heading south. The U.S. Army. She's a master sergeant in the U.S. Army. We're coming back right after this.
Step out of your day and into your happy place, where your health comes from a more relaxed, beautiful you. Don't take our word for it, take theirs.
That experience is always amazing, but Valentine's Day was pretty special.
Not only am I toes absolutely gorgeous, but I got a foot rub. Oh my God.
Now come along and find your glamorous you. Manis, pedis, massages, facials, hair, makeup, and waxing. You know you want to. Call or visit us today at 448-4099. The Glam Experience, Day Spa.
Yes, we're back. We're back, guys. We're back. We had to take a little water break, a little wine break, a little something break. And we have Reshema who's going to be joining us coming up next. Avril was so wonderful. And we're so happy that we can have two women who are really setting the way for other women, especially Dominican women, especially if you're thinking about joining the Army. Such great stories. There's so much more we can talk about. But we have to keep it short. We have to keep it sweet for you so we can keep you babbling a little bit. We got Reshema coming on. Reshema, okay. So story. Let's talk about how Reshema has been following me on Instagram like forever. And whenever I share, we as women, we always talk about, supporting other women and whatever. And we just talk and no action. Reshema is action. So Reshema's always in my room, always, if she sees, something that inspires on my timeline, she'll drop me a message. She'll always, and I never really knew who the person was. As far as I was concerned, it was just this person who followed my Instagram and she'd share, with me and whatever. And then we bounced up in Dominica. I can't remember. It was like a couple years ago. It was Carnival. We bounced up in Dominica. And I was like, oh my God, she's so cool, and found out that she has relatives in Canada. Reshema actually knows Avril and they run in the exact same circles, like they're friends and related to, and it's so coincidinky do. I was thinking, okay, who would be the best person to have on this show today? And lo and behold, I go in my timeline and I see Reshema has been promoted and she's now a master sergeant in the Army. And I was like, in her DMs, girl, when you coming on my show? It was just like that. It was literally just like that. And it is an absolute honor and privilege to have Reshema Sherlock joining me. Hi, Reshema.
Oh, hey. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can.
You hear me good?
I can.
Good, good. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am doing good. No, look at those Dominica flats. People dropping those Dominica flats. People screaming, people shouting, and people getting on bad in the chat. Make sure y'all share the live while you're getting on bad too. Make sure you share the live and show some love to our army women. Reshema, tell me a little bit about you. Who is Reshema?
Okay, so my name is Reshema Sherlock, and I was born in Dominica, like Avril. I am from Newtown as well.
Is it something like? Is it
It
like?
might be. I attended the St. Martin Primary School and went on to, Goodwood Secondary School. Then I left to, the U.S.
So
And
let's backtrack. Let's backtrack before we get into when you left for the U.S. What was tell me some of your childhood memories in Dominica.
I guess kind of similar to Avril's, like, hanging around the savannah, because that was kind of like our major landmark, I guess you could say, in Newtown. So that was pretty much the same thing, just like she said, going to the beach right there next, Suki's Beach when you get done, that smell of the hot bread. And so kind of the same similarities.
So you moved to the U.S. How old were you when you moved?
I know I was a teenager. I can't remember my exact age, but I was a teenager at the time.
So did you automatically say I'm going to the army, or what was the process like?
No. So I met a friend who was actually home on leave from the army at the time. And, he was telling me all about the military and, all the benefits and all the little cool stories, selling the army as he should. And then, all the commercials started coming on. And I was like, I think that's a sign. So surprisingly, when I went into the recruiter's office, my recruiter was from Dominica as well. So, yeah, here I am.
How is that possible that your recruiter is from Dominica?
I don't know, but crazy, I met him in Iraq a few years later too. So, yeah, it's a small world. It's a small army world.
Okay, so your recruiter is Dominican, you go in and you sign up. What happens next?
Yes. So I signed up and then I left for basic training, which I did at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Went through 9 weeks of basic training. Shock, culture shock, everything. I mean, I'm not the biggest athlete or whatever, if you want to describe it in that way, but it was a change. It was a shock, and I was young, and it was my first time, if you want to say, being on my own. So I went and did that for 9 weeks. Then once I completed basic training, I went on to advanced individual training, where my first job was, I was an automated logistics specialist. So if you have to convert that to the civilian world, it's pretty much supply. So just managing logistics and supply. So I did that training and then went on to my first duty station, which was at Camp Casey, South Korea. So
you were deployed like earlier clock?
No, it wasn't a deployment. So it was pretty much a duty station. So just like you have duty stations or assignments in the States or overseas, you have some overseas as well. Mm-hmm. So I went on to South Korea, where that was my first duty station as a private, big girl, I guess, had to pretty much navigate the world on my own and, in a foreign country. And, made new friends, had my job there. I worked in what you would call like a motor pool. So I was ordering parts for vehicles and, processing. When the parts came in, process it, let them know that their parts are ready for pickup. So it's pretty much, we do the same job as the civilian sector does, but it's just,
Avril was saying you can work any job.
Right. We have, I mean, I listened on, it's the same thing. We have lawyers, we have receptionists, we have individuals that fly the planes, we have pretty much the same job. So once I moved on to South Korea, I stayed there for 12 months. And then my follow-on assignment was at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So I was there stayed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina from 2004 until 2014. And during my time there, I deployed to Iraq twice. So I was my first time.
Wait a minute. So my girl, you were looking for Osama?
No, I was not looking.
Tell us a little bit about being deployed to Iraq.
I mean, it was my first deployment was a challenge for me because I had just had my son. He was 3 months old. And so I left, he was born in May. I left in September of 2006. When I came back, it was April 2008. So I was gone for 15 months. Well, wait, not April 2008.
You left your son behind?
Yeah, I can't take him to Iraq.
No, but I would think that, like, they would think that you just had a baby. And
oh, no.
How does that work?
That's what you sign up for. I mean, it's your job. Just like if you were to go to your job today, you can't say, oh, I'm not coming to work today because, my kids. I need to stay home with my kids. It's the same thing. I mean, we wear the uniform, but I'm not going to say it's a 9 to 5 because, of course, you may get called after hours or whatever the case may be or work longer. But I love it. It's been 18 years and I truly love it. I said I deployed twice.
So let's backtrack because you spoke about having your son. And again, a lot of times people think to themselves, it's hard to start families, hard to do all of these things when you're in the Army. What has the process been like, or what has your experience been like?
I mean, I have not had, it's challenging at times, I won't say, because we move a lot. So when you're one place for 2 years and then the next time, the longest you may be is for 3. And then you're on to the next. So like if it's somewhere that you've never been before, you rely on family support. Whether my family is far or near, I promise you that they have been my support system. So both my husband and I are in the military. So it may be time he has to leave or I have to leave. We may literally be in passing, like he comes home today and I'm leaving like later on in the day. But we work through it. You rely on family, you rely on friends, you make friends when you get there with kids, and you just rely on each other.
What has it been like with your children? Like what do they say to you as it relates to, having to move around?
They're used to it. Kids are resilient. So at the end of the day, of course, when you say, hey, we're moving tomorrow, well, not tomorrow, but if I break the news like, hey, we're moving, it's like, okay, again, or I'm ready to move, or they may say, well, I'm not really feeling it this time, but at the end of the day, they're resilient. And once we move on, they adapt. My son alone has been to 5 different schools. He has been to school in North Carolina. He has been to school in South Korea. He has been to school in Washington State. And here he is in school in Kentucky, and come November, he's back to school in South Korea again.
You're going again. You're being deployed.
I'm going back to, well, it's not a deployment. So when we go to South Korea, when we go to Korea, it's not a deployment. You have families living in Korea, like the same lifestyle in the States. So if you were stationed in Germany, we have people stationed in England, you have people stationed, throughout Europe, throughout the United States. So it's the same thing. The joy of it is that I get to bring my family with me. So my kids, my puppies, and my husband, we're, going to Korea.
How long will you be in Korea for?
It will be 2 years.
What is that mentally? How does that work in your mind? Like having to, because it would appear to somebody that, or anybody else, that it's not, you can't get attached. You can't get attached
Right.
between, you're attached to an environment, or attached to your house, or my pretty house, or attached to things, or, you know, how does that work for you?
So I guess I've been in 18 years, my husband 22, and it's been, when it's time for, like, I would say moving, once you get the moving process, what we call it is PCS, which is a shortened term, which is a permanent change of duty station. It's a stressful time. It's a stressful. You're trying to get the movers together. You're trying to ensure that the movers pack your stuff properly. You're praying to God that the movers does not break your stuff when you get to the other end. So it's, I mean, making sure, okay, did I get all the kids' medical stuff? Did I get all their school stuff, transferring from one school to the other, getting to your next duty assignment and having to register them all over again? Like when we get to Korea, this time, last time, so the kids and my husband and I, we went to Korea back in 2014 to 2016. And, you know, the kids loved it. It was an adjustment at first. And, you know, once you get settled and get into a rhythm, it's about time to come back. But you have opportunities. You get to travel. You get to travel throughout Korea. You get to travel throughout Asia. So it's not, being in the military is not like, oh my God, she's in the military, she's going to war. Like, we get 30 days paid leave every year. What other organization will pay you 30 days free leave every year? I've attained my associate's degree, my bachelor's degree, and my master's degree, all while serving, free of charge. Like, no student loans. And I'm not knocking anybody with student loans, but I'm just saying those are some of the opportunities that has been afforded to me. I used to be blind. I'm gonna tell you that little story. I had eye surgery free of charge, all paid by the military. My kids get health care.
Wait. You be what?
Blind. Like, I mean, when I said blind, not that, you know, I couldn't see, but I wore glasses. So I had, you know, to wear glasses or contacts for a long time. And, you know, was able to afford it to get eye surgery by the military, all paid by the military. I can take my kids to the doctor and, you know, check them in, go see the doctor, pick up their meds and leave. I can drive through Walgreens or CVS right now through the drive-through and pick up medication, and then it just say, have a nice day, not like, ma'am, you owe anything. So there are a lot of benefits to being in the military.
Wow. I wanna talk a little bit about your love story. How did you meet your husband?
So I met my husband in North Carolina. I almost said North Korea. No, I didn't. I met my husband in North Carolina. At the time, he had just arrived at the unit that I was in, or I think I just arrived. I can't remember where I transferred. And, you know, the little flirting back and forth, more so on his end, and I'm talking loud enough so he can hear, but more so on his end, the little flirting back and forth. And, you know, then finally, we became, I guess you could say, an item. We actually deployed to Iraq together, my second deployment. We deployed together. So it made it more, while I missed my son, because I didn't have my daughter at the time, while I missed my son at the time, at least I had somebody that I could, you know, lean on. I could say, okay,
Where was your son during that time?
You said he was in North Carolina. He stayed in North Carolina at that time.
Wow. So you definitely had to have a lot of family support because.
Yes, a lot. Yes.
Was he with a relative? Like you left him?
He was with a really, really good friend of mine and her mom. Well, her mom. So at the time, so yes, he was with someone I considered family.
Wow, that must have been so hard leaving your 3-month-old baby.
Well, the first time I left, he was 3 months. So when I came back, he was 2 months shy of turning 2. That was the first time. But because we got extended, it was originally.
Did he know you? Like
he did. The first day, I mean, he stared at me like, who are you? But then it was like I never left. Because like I say, kids are resilient. So.
Wow. Oh my God. Like, I'm just like thinking, you know, like, it's so funny because people say, oh, when you leave your kids, don't leave your kids. But it's really like, I mean, they learn so much. Your
Yeah.
son is 15 and he's gone through this so many times. And I guess when he gets 18, he'll be like, "Peace, I'm done with this." He'll probably
Yeah.
say, "Oh, he might join." You know, he might decide that he's gonna do just that.
Right.
Can you so you tell us, you and your husband, well, you were not married yet when you went on your first, right? When you went the first
No.
time. What was that like, being in a war zone? Like,
Okay, so that was kind of when, like, in the heat of, I guess, when, the Iraq War kicked off, 2003, during that time. So it was back-to-back deployments. You came home, you probably was home, some people for 6 months, 9 months, gone again. Like, it was a constant rotation during that time. And I guess you could say you just, you try to make it out there. It's so while you're deployed, you have the individuals who are outside of the wire, the ones who are doing,
so there really is
going
a
on
war.
routes.
It's not just a
Well,
show.
I mean, they call it the wire, where but it's outside the gate, I guess you should say.
Okay.
And you have the ones that's outside the gate doing patrols or running missions outside the gate. I never had to go outside the gate, so it's like I did my everyday job like I was in the States, but I was just deployed in a deployed environment where you carry a weapon everywhere that you go. You use the bathroom, you have to go use Potter Johns outside. You share showers, you share a living space with other women. You eat, at a dining facility. And that's pretty much how I survived my first deployment.
Wow. Okay, so what is your what is your current role now in the military?
So I switched jobs, and my current role is I am a senior public affairs NCO, which is a non-commissioned officer. So in the civilian term, it's a military journalist. So I deal with media. That's my
watching. Avril has been trying. Avril has been schooling me on the military, on journalism.
Right, yes. So that's my current job is public affairs.
Wow. This I guess this might be the sign that I should consider. We'll see. So you are a journalist pretty much. And what does that entail? Like, do you like literally write articles about are you the one that's always promoting? Join the army, best police.
So with my current job, I work at my unit is called the Marketing and Engagement Brigade, which we do a lot of marketing. So if somebody in the United States or like high schools, you see a lot of the trucks going out to the big trucks with all the Army logos and everything going out to the high schools. That's more of the people that I work with. The Golden Knights, the ones that jump through the parachutes and jump out of airplanes. And then the marksmanship unit is those who are actually doing shooting competitions. Like right now, we actually have 5 soldiers from my brigade who's at the Olympics right now. So this is what I deal with. So yes, I do a lot with media personnel, like speaking with the media, communicating media events. If we have an event, pre-COVID, I traveled a lot. So I would travel to a lot of our engagements or whatever we had going on. Just we have media engagements there, just coordinate with media, meeting with media. If we have something on the base that belongs to our unit, just escorting media personnel, making sure they come on, they have the right credentials to come onto the installation, escort them out the installation. If they have follow-up questions, making sure you follow up with them. Yes, I do write articles depending on what, I guess, engagement or whatever that we have going on at the time. So if it requires an article, then I help manage with our social media as well, Facebook, Instagram, overseeing. So it's my day-to-day activity, role, just depends on what is going on at the time, but it's more so dealing with public affairs, keeping our commander informed of whatever is going on at the time.
We're gonna go to the chat. A few folks have been saying hi. So Brenda has been saying,
hey Brenda, my sister.
And good to hear. We also have Shola. Shola just came on and showed some love. So we have people from all over the world logging in. Beverly saying, I guess they're conditioned themselves to that kind of life. I think she's referring to your kids. And
Yeah, they do. They do. Like my kids they're my world. My kids I can say, okay, mommy has to leave. Like now, I can say, mommy has to leave tomorrow to go for work. And, they're like, okay, like it's no longer, my kids, they're used to this. They're pretty much used to it and conditioned. And they know that, I'm not just leaving them because, I don't have anything else to do. They know that's our job and we leave, but we're going to come back and,
One of the things you spoke about is how you've managed to go to do all of these degrees, and now you've completed your master's, and you've done it absolutely FREE, and that is honestly, that is like really, really, I mean, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to join then, because I heard of all of, I didn't want my parents to have to pay for anything for me. I was always like, so a lot of young people, live Dominica and they move to the US and they join the army. And I know I have a lot of friends, a lot of family members who've joined, especially the US Army, and they've had really great experiences. And, it's for the most part, most people have had like really good experiences from being in the army. Has your experience been somewhat different than the norm for people? Because you talk about your family and how you're able to move with your family. Is that the norm for all families across the board, or is it just in your situation?
No, and so everyone's situation is different. There's some times that you could leave without your family, like if you're going on deployment or you're going on a restricted assignment where you can't bring your family. For example, when we were in Korea in 2014 to 2016, 13 of those months, I lived 3.5 hours away from my husband and kids. So I would only see them on the weekend. And then 13 months later, I moved to the same area that they were. So there are times that you may have to go on an assignment where you can't bring your family. Like if you were to deploy to Kuwait or Iraq or even Korea, if it depends on if it's a restricted tour that you're going for 1 year, you may not be able to bring your family. So, but luckily, I haven't had those challenges or where I went somewhere where I couldn't take my family with me. That's not good. But I only had where when we went, I am, where we went to Korea and I was 3.5 hours away from my family.
How long do you think you can do this for, or are you going to be packing in the bag soon, saying, hey, no, I'm done with this? I mean, granted, I know you love your job. I mean, it's obvious you love your job. You speak about it with such enthusiasm, but they say all good things must come to an end. How long do you think Reshema can continue to do this, or will continue to do this?
So there's this saying in the Army that you know when it's time to go. When you know longer, and that's not only for the Army. That's not only for the Army. That's for anything. That's for a regular civilian job in the private sector. You know when it's time to go. When you no longer enjoy doing the things that you used to do, you no longer enjoy coming into work, you no longer, but I've been doing this for 18 years, going on 19, and I love it. I really do. It has provided for my family, afforded my family a lot of opportunities, afforded me a lot of opportunities. I mean, how many kids get to say, oh, I went to school in South Korea, or I lived in South Korea? Like, not a lot of kids get to say it. So the opportunities are endless for kids, family, and I really enjoy it. So I'm retirement eligible at 20 years. So in 2 years, well.
Look at that, 2 years.
No, 3. I have an additional 3-year, 1-year obligation now, but I'm just going to keep going. And when I feel that it's time, my daughter is trying to come in the camera. I'll know when it's time. May have 22, I may have 23, 24, but at the end of the day, I can say that I retired from one organization and I can start another life. I can work again and do something in the private sector. This is just work a normal job. I'll be at Walmart and be somebody's greeter, earning my retirement check and just doing it,
Now I can't. It would be kind of strange if I don't ask this question, because you both you're a couple living in America, Black, and you're in the Army. I know Avril touched a little bit about her experiences. It's not as blatant in Canada as it might be in the US. Have you had any experiences of racism even within your organizations or just day-to-day life? Like, what has your experience? I mean, you're like, you serve. I've seen videos of people who have, like, I saw this woman who was actually complaining. She's like, I serve in the Army, and I'm being pulled over, like there are all these different things. Have you had any experiences that you could share with us?
So you know how they say racism starts at home, right? And it's taught. So if we want to go all the way back, you could say the light skin, dark skin started back home, because that's how they go with the light skins and the dark skin, or the like Avril mentioned earlier, the last names and whatever the case may be. I personally hadn't had any experience in the Army where somebody was, well, I'll take that back. So it was a long time ago, back when the Trayvon Martin situation was going on. And we were at the gym that morning, and normally I would leave my gym bag in my vehicle, and after workout or whatnot, I'll go and get my gym bag. But that day I was like, I'm just going to bring my gym bag in so I can just go in and take a shower after. And just like an airport, you're not allowed to just leave your bags laying around. So my bag was at the front, and the lady, behind the desk, she was like, whose bag is that? But because from where I was standing, I just kind of yelled and said, that's my bag. And I remember an officer, captain at the time, that was in my unit, and his response was like, calm down, Trayvon. Yeah. So but that was before, like way before all of, everything that's going on right now. And, but yeah, I had that experience before. I think the initial shock, I didn't say anything. And, but yeah, I didn't say anything, because it's not an organization or where, respect is first. So at the end, we can't just go in and just, like, well, I'm gonna go at you, or, like, just, you have to be professional at all times. So I took the professional route.
I would have been like, Trey, what? Trey,
yeah, see, no, you can't do that. You have to, no, you gotta be professional at all times. You can't do that.
No. Oh my God, like my blood would just boil over, yeah. Like, that is crazy. Oh my God, yes. Whew. How many countries have you touched since you've been here? Like, how many places have you been to around the world? Forget about this.
Are you talking about vacation-wise, or just like, while serving in the military? Yeah. So I've been to Kuwait, I've been to Iraq, Korea. That's it. Oh, like, I guess if you want to count, whenever we're going through Korea, we always, end up in Japan for some time. So if you want to add Japan to that list, that's about it. But as far as my duty assignments, I've only been stationed in South Korea, North Carolina, Washington State, Korea again, Kentucky, and back to Korea again.
What is the planning stages going like for you for your next? What are you doing right now? How are you preparing yourselves and your kids?
So we're moving in the middle of winter, and if anybody has been to Korea or knows Korea, their winters are brutal. I know you live in Canada, and I've experienced some Canadian winters. Winters in Korea are brutal. So it's just the process, the same thing. So we have to go through, the planning process, making sure that, okay, what are we taking? What are we not taking? Shipping vehicles overseas or not shipping vehicles overseas, making sure the pets are all, our puppies are all situated, because it's a process. There's so many tests that they have to do. Their kennels need to be a certain size in order for them to get on the plane. They have to have health certificate tests that need to be done by labs that's not even in this state. So there's a lot of things that, like, checkups that you have to make sure with the kids, make sure you get all their medical paperwork. The good thing about the Army, when you keep it with the systems, they transfer over. So I don't have to take the kids' medical records over, because once they get into Korea, they log in, they can pull all their medical records. They can see whatever prescriptions that they had. Their schools allow them, so they'll be going back to school in about 20 days, but they're only going to be in school for August, September, October. So they'll be in school for about 2.5 months, and then get out of school and move to a new school.
Are you worried about their friends? You're leaving their friends behind?
Not necessarily, because they make friends. My kids will make friends, especially my daughter. She's friendly. She will talk to anybody. So she will make friends. I'm not worried about that, because they'll go to school on base, and it's Americanized, so they'll make friends. I'm not worried about that. But with COVID and a lot of the changes, and especially like in Korea, they're very, very strict with their COVID protocols. We have a mandatory 14-day lockdown once we get there. Like, we only come out for yard time. Like, going through the process of that, making sure that all our stuff that we're taking our household goods that we're taking to Korea with us, stuff that we're storing in storage stateside. So it's just making sure, hey, did I call this company to, cut this off? It's a lot of planning leading up to it, but we have time. We're about 4 months, but still. We have enough time to kind of like plan through, like, say, okay, this is going, this is not going. What do we have, like a timeline? And it's a stressful time, but with a timeline, it's stressful till you get there. And then once you get there, it's a new stress.
What would you say to anybody who's probably thinking, I want to join the Army, but, I'm reluctant because I'm not sure if, just hearing all of the times you move, somebody might not be prepared to do all of these,
right?
Going all over the place, because they might think I'm attached. I like to stay one place. Moving for me is a headache. But my friends always say to me, like, when it comes to move, if I know I gotta move, and I'm ready to go. It's like my friends always laugh at me. I have a specific friend who said to me, like, she's been there every time I've moved, and she's like, you're so unfazed. Like, you're just like, let's go, What would you say to somebody who's probably, thinking about it, but still struggling with whether or not it's might be the best decision for them?
So I would say the moves are the least of your worries. The moves are the least. But if the opportunities outweigh the moves, the opportunities, the benefits, the experience, that far outweighs the moves. Yes, you move every 3 years. Like, as soon as you get settled, they're like, we're up and moving again. But the benefits and the rewards, you serve 20 years in the military, you get a retirement check for the rest of your life. You can go on to another job and work there for another 10, 20 years, get another retirement check for the rest of your life. So the benefits outweighs the moves. So if somebody is interested in joining the Army, go for it. Go for it. Don't let somebody else's experience shape your future.
What are you hoping for most when COVID is done and all of this pandemic stuff is done?
To see, I'm waiting for the Canadian borders to open because we're close to the Canadian border and we
Yeah,
visit. My kids spend, right, so
you guys
we're about like,
but the Canadians open to the American.
right, so my kids, like I missed like the experience. My kids spent their summers in Canada, not last year, but the year before. And just the experience to kind of feel and know that, okay, they're among their family members, their cousins. They get to grow up with them and have that experience. So had COVID not happened last year, they would have been in Canada. Had COVID not this year, they would have been in Canada. But just the opportunities that once COVID is over, we'll be in Korea. So I don't know. I hope on that side of the world that, once it's over, that we can travel on that side of the world. Take my kids to Disney in Japan, take my kids to Thailand, take my kids to just be able to travel on that side of the world and make the best of it. Yeah.
Reshema, it has been an honor. Avril is on there. She's saying it's the most rewarding career.
It is, Avril. It is. I listened to your story and you were awesome as usual. And yes, it is the most rewarding career. It's not just I put this uniform on and I go to work every day and I come home and it really is. Like I really, really enjoy my job.
Someone's asking a question. Can one be in the Army and not be deployed to war zones?
So it is a possibility. There are some people who are in the military who has never been deployed. For example, you have recruiters. Those are the ones who recruit people to join the military. They won't get deployed because they're not going over in a war zone to recruit individuals. So based on your job, there are individuals who
good job to have if you don't want to go to war.
Yeah, so there are people who and then if there's not a war, then you're not going out to. But it just depends on what unit that you belong to, actually the organization that you belong to at the time. And if there's a rotation going overseas, then yeah, more than likely you will be there.
All right. Julian is saying, hi Reshema, so proud of you, my Harlem peeps. So
thank you, Sharmila.
She's shouting you out. A lot of folks are enjoying the conversation. For us in the US, some of us have the choice. So for the US, you have the choice. Some of us have a choice as to whether
we don't get that choice unless there's a medical condition for the individual that may prevent them from deploying at the time. You can, but if you're fully deployed, no medical issue or anything preventing you from deploying, then if your unit is deploying at the time, then you'll go.
Reshema, it's been an honor. It has been a pleasure. I just, first of all, I want to wish you, safe journey mercy to Korea and your family and everyone. It's been such an honor to have you on here to share with us, a little bit about your experience. A lot of people, there's so many negative things that people say about the Army, and like Avril was saying, a lot of people think it's like the Babylon, and there's that fear, that comes with it, and or not necessarily fear, but sort of like a disdain feeling, like I'm not about that life,
no,
right? But based on the two of you women in the Army, you've had really good experiences. Not to say that there are not any bad experiences, but there's bad experiences in any field, right? In any kind of work that you would choose. And we have both you and Avril have had such wonderful experiences to the point Avril retired and went back. So
no, once I retire, I'm not going back unless I get called back. But no,
and that can happen.
No. Yeah, I mean, it can happen. Somebody can retire and you can get called back to active duty if something were to go on. So, yes.
Wow. Reshema, thanks a lot for coming on with us and sharing your story with us. To all of the Harlem peeps, that was that was through. It just coincidental because I didn't know that they were both from Harlem. It's talking I realized, but wait, it's like they're both from the same area. Did you guys know each other growing up?
I knew her mom and her brother, and I think briefly maybe when she was older and visiting. But I know her and my cousin Brenda are like really, really close childhood friends. So I actually met Avril in Canada about 2 or 3 years ago.
Wow. But it was so great to have you on, and great to have on as well Avril, and thank you very much for your time and for sharing your story. And I want to wish you and your family all the best with your new move, and hopefully you get to enough time to choose exactly what you want. Your moving is tough. But when you gotta do it, you gotta do it. You gotta do it, and that's the bottom line. And I just want to tell you, I don't know if I should say go with God. I don't know if that's something
you can. You can say that. It's okay. God is at the front of everything. So yes.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. Thank you very much again for sharing your story. And thanks to all those of you who came on. You have any final words before we wrap it up?
No, just thank you for having me. And I enjoyed our conversation today.
Bye, Reshema.
Bye.
All right. Guys, that's it. Another day wrapped up right here on Cacoa. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys shared the live. Hope you guys tagged a friend. Thanks to both women for their time. Oh my God, there's so much more we could have spoken about. There's so much more. But we got to keep it short. We got to keep it sweet. Although we've been on here for the last nearly 2 hours, and we got to wrap up now. I want to say thank you very, very much to all those of you who tuned in, those of you who shared the live, those of you who continue to be a source of inspiration, a source of comfort, a source of you encourage me every single day. Thank you so very much to you and to all my sponsors who've come on board, and really thanks again, guys. I truly appreciate your time. We'll be back. I think we're coming back next month. So August, coming back in August. We had 2 back-to-back shows in July. So we're going to be coming back in August. And August is just now, right? August is literally a week and a half away. So we'll be back in August with more Cacoa Tea for you. Thank you very much, Beverly. And don't forget to follow on social media, follow on Facebook, follow on YouTube, follow on Instagram. And also, I will be doing this cool experiment come Monday. So I want to encourage you to follow my pages so you can find out a little bit about it. Oh my God, I love it. What a glorious day to see these lovely ladies from Newtown making it big. Yes. So people are coming on and showing love to the show. Thanks, guys, for joining me. Until next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye.